The original Resident Evil 3 was one of my favorite childhood games, so when Capcom announced that they were remaking Resident Evil 3, I was really excited. I wanted to see my childhood memories in high definition. So the game came out, I played it, and it wasn't bad. There wasn't really a part of the game where I had to stop and audibly express my frustration, but on the other hand, there wasn't any part of the game where I stopped and said, wow, that was awesome. And that's the problem with this game. While the action set pieces and the gameplay are fun, it gives you exactly what you expect, nothing more. It doesn't impress you with anything, it doesn't shock you, it doesn't surprise you, it's not groundbreaking, it's just okay. And since we got the remake of Resident Evil 2, which was a fantastic game only 2 years prior, the expectations for this game were that this game is gonna do it better than Resident Evil 2. And since the RE2 remake was so impressive, the RE3 remake just doesn't come off that way. So let's break it down. The original RE3 compared to the original RE2 was more action-packed. You had access to more areas in the game, and you're basically set loose in the city as opposed to RE2, where you spend most of your time in the RPD station. And in RE3, you had to deal with a very threatening, stubborn, and persistent nemesis. This monster who just wouldn't leave you alone, and he kept coming back over and over again. So those are the three main sort of personality traits when it comes to RE3 compared to RE2. Now, in the remake of Resident Evil 3, we all expected Capcom to do the same thing with the remake as well, and I think that's the problem. Because when you think about it, Capcom did give us exactly those things. The RE3 remake is action-packed, you do explore more of the city, you do deal with Nemesis, but that's all this game is. The devs just listened to how some of the more vocal RE fans described RE3, and they tried to make a game based on what those people said. But the truth is, RE3 had more to offer than those three specific characteristics. Yes, the original game was more action-packed, but the action was fun, and that's why it worked. You did get to explore the city, but the city was fun to explore. You did have to deal with Nemesis, but every time he showed up, it was horrifying and scary. The problem with Resident Evil 3 Remake is that some of the better parts of the original game, which were more nuanced, are completely missing. And I'm not one of those people that advocates for the remakes to be exactly like the original, but I do think you should be able to at least capture the spirit of the original game. And if you're gonna change something and make it different, that's fine. But if you're cutting sections out of the game, you have to at least replace them with something else. One of the best things about the original RE3 is the puzzles, and the remake just doesn't have that many, and the ones it does have are really boring. It's kind of important for a game like this that's action heavy to have those moments of the game slowing down and giving you a break and giving you something different to do other than killing zombies. And the remake just doesn't have those, and because of that, the pacing suffers a lot. And another issue with this game is that it's very short. The RE2 remake took me twice as long to complete, and again, I think the addition of more puzzles in the game would not only help with the pacing and the flow, but it would also stretch that playtime a little bit more to make sure you don't feel underwhelmed when you finish the game. Because that's what it feels like now. When you finish the game, you're kinda like, is that it? It feels underwhelming because the game is just way too short. On my second playthrough, it only took me an hour to finish it. You just don't get enough playtime out of a $60 game, and that's not good. Now let's talk about Nemesis, which in my opinion is the biggest letdown in this game. I love Nemesis in the original RE3. He just has this presence, and there's a quality about him that makes him so special. Every time he shows up, you're like, oh fuck, not you again. And Capcom was able to replicate that feeling perfectly in Resident Evil 2. With Mr. X. In the RE2 remake, Mr. X is designed so well. His AI is actually impressive. He stalks you throughout the entire RPD station, he follows you around, you can't kill him at all. Your only choice is to hide from him. If you run, he will find you faster. If you fire a weapon, he will come running. They designed him in a way that he just has this terrifying presence. Sitting in a room while listening to his footsteps knowing that he is right outside is nerve-wracking. They create this sense of dread where you're forced to move forward and you're trying to figure out how to get to the next step while simultaneously playing hide and seek with this horrifying monster. and it just works. He's designed perfectly. And before the RE3 remake came out, some people were saying things like, well, if you think Mr. X is scary, just wait for Nemesis. He can run, and he has a rocket launcher, and he can do this, and he can do that. And the whole time, I'm like, that's not why Nemesis was scary though. It's not how much the monster can do, it's how much the player can't do. In RE2 Remake, Mr. X is scary, but he doesn't really do anything. He just punches you. But you, the player, can't do anything either. You can't hurt him, you can't kill him, so you feel very powerless towards him, and that makes him scary. In the remake of RE3, Nemesis can do a lot, but he's really not scary, and that's because even though Nemesis can do a lot, the player can do a lot as well. You can completely incapacitate Nemesis with a single grenade. He can run faster than you, and he can jump in front of you, so there's really not much of a point in trying to run away from him. The dodging mechanic is smooth enough that when he does catch you, you can easily dodge his attacks. At least in the original game, the dodging mechanic was kinda tricky to perform, so it was really hard to abuse it, but in this game, it's really easy to dodge anyone, including Nemesis. He is too easy to deal with, but when you come face to face with Mr. X, the best and most logical move is to always run. You can't run like the Flash, but you can run just fast enough to feel him right behind you when you're trying to outrun him. With Nemesis, it's always just easier to either dodge or kill him. If anytime Mr. X showed up, you could just resort to shooting him and putting him down, then he wouldn't be scary. Another problem I have with Nemesis is that you just don't get to see much of him. He's supposed to be this persistent tyrant, always running after you, but you only encounter him a few times before he completely mutates into a giant beast that would be incapable of stalking you or jumping in front of you, but it would be capable of crushing you with one hit. Overall, I'm a little bit let down by this game, because it's not like the Resident Evil games have amazing stories to tell, so when the gameplay is kinda underwhelming, you really don't have much to fall back on. Resident Evil 3 Remake is not a bad game, but it's not an amazing game either. It's short, and in my opinion, it's not really worth the full price no matter how many other crappy side multiplayer game modes it's bundled with. That is gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to drop a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.